Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I'm answering a Dear Ruth Theresa question. So the question I'm answering today is, how do I know I've had past lives? And I kind of really get this a lot. One of the things is you may have different memories that don't really coincide with the life that you have right now, or you're always drawn to a certain part of the world. I had a client for many years, all she ever talked about was going to Paris, going to Paris, going to Paris. I mean, like, when I graduate high school, I'm going to go to Paris. When I graduate college, I'm going to go to Paris. Like, no matter what, she was in Paris. She loved Paris, and she loved being there. And when she'd been to several different parts over the years, but really only she'd been there, you know what I'm saying, like probably 2 weeks collectively in like 7 trips. She'd have like 1 or 2 days layover there, or only could afford a couple of days and then had to come back home or whatever it was. So one of the times that she really got to spend she got to spend like 5 days in Paris. And so she was just like, oh my gosh, I just love this. And so as she kind of got to explore the city differently than she had before, all of a sudden she is like knowing what the road is coming up ahead. She's like, oh, that's so-and-so street. And the taxi driver's like, yeah, but how do you know? You're a tourist. And he was like, oh, probably you've been in this area. And she goes, no, I've never been in this area. Just like things started like popping out. And I will say that's kind of really what happens. And then there are times, so like the second way is kind of like we will have people that we meet that we are just like fast friends. I did a reading for 2 girlfriends about 2 months ago. And they had just met. One had been living in the neighborhood for about 2 or 3 years. And then the other one moved in like literally like 5 months ago, and as soon as they met and kind of like started chatting, they were like fast and furious friends. Like they were like texting each other and calling each other and all that kind of stuff, and just really felt this deep connection to each other. And they were kind of like, where is this coming from? And so that's what their whole reading was about, is like, how do we know each other and how many past lives that we had together and that sort of thing. So you may meet people in your life that you just have like that instant connection with. That's knowing like that you knew that person in a past life is kind of the best way to do it. But I will tell you that even your family members could be someone from a past life, and that's really important to understand. Sometimes we have people that kind of like do past lives, and they come back into the same family several times. So they could be the great-great-grandfather and then come in as the great-great-grandchild after he passes. And then they could come in like so many generations later on. And it's kind of interesting. Some of them come in really fast, like people pass and then they're like, oh, I'm ready to go back again. Or they're like, I've done my duty for a little bit, I'm kind of going to take it off a little bit, and they'll kind of be, like I said, kind of grandfather, great-grandfather, and great-great-grandchild or something like that. So that's the way it going. And a lot of times, like, that person may not always come back as the same sex. So you could be females for so many lives and males for so many lives. I will tell you that most of the time, it's pretty evenly divided between how many times you've been a female and how many times you've been a male. It's kind of just pretty evenly divided for most people. There are a few that have it kind of swaying, like they've been male more times or female more times, but that's kind of more the rarity than it is the regular kind of way to deal with this. And I often tell my clients, kind of one of the best ways to kind of understand past lives is we all get in a huddle up there, kind of like a football huddle. And so we kind of get in the football huddle, and here we go. We're all talking about, you're going to do this and we're going to do this. And then you kind of add child's play on top of that. And I always think of like girls playing house. Like, you're going to be the mommy, and you're going to be the daddy, and you're going to be the brother, and this is going to be the sister, and I'm going to be the neighbor, and you know, whatever it is. And they will bring that energy in, but we add that football huddle energy back in, because what they end up going is mommy and daddy are going to have communication issues, or mommy and daddy are going to have money issues until they figure it out, or the son is going to have issues with the sister because he thinks the sister gets more attention or whatever it is. And so we kind of have all of those things to deal with. Now, you could be holding up your end of the agreement, like, I promise to be here and I'm going to learn how to deal with abundance and kind of not live paycheck to paycheck this time. And that can be a really great one. So that's kind of like, yay, here we go. Yet at the same time, it can also be overwhelming because the other person has their right to choose to say, I'm not doing this. I'm totally not doing this. I am totally not doing this. It's too much. I went through so much with the family or whatever it is. And that is kind of a way that kind of people deal with stuff, is just kind of like, I just feel like it's the important part. It's the energy of it. So it's kind of a great way to look at it, of kind of like, how do you connect to all this energy? How do you connect to all of this? And like I said, when you meet someone and you just really like, I really don't like them. It could be from a past life that you remember their energy. Their meat suit or their body is different, but the soul inside is the same, and it can trigger you as well, just as easily as anything else. So that's kind of one of those interesting things, is kind of like, I kind of connect past lives to kind of child's play, because we continually keep coming back. Not everybody does, but most of us do. We keep coming back to Earth because this is kind of like our school. This is where we learn. This is how we learn how to do things. So that's kind of the interesting part, is we're learning how to deal with our past lives, or kind of dealing with old stuff or old baggage or things that come in from other people. And we just learn new lessons all the time. Every time we come in, we have a whole new list, kind of like a football playlist. We have different playlists that we're going to do and or learn or adapt again, or learn one more time, or I didn't learn it completely last time. So that's kind of a big change right there. So let's do some angel cards and give us a little bit more insight on how to connect to our past lives. So the first one coming up is intention. You do have to start with an intention. You have to intend to connect to that past life, of getting the information that's coming through, kind of like what's there, what's coming through. And there are, now I do psychic readings where I can help people learn about their past lives. And that kind of can be fun, of just like learning what I was in the past, or kind of like, how does it connect to you now? But I will tell you that most people really mess up their current life with working on their past life. It's kind of like, I didn't learn this lesson last week, so I'm going to bring it into this life now. And I already have a full array. Like I said, y'all have a playlist of what you're supposed to do, and now I'm adding too much. And then that can make that person kind of go into shutdown mode, like, oh, I'm like over all of this. This is too much. So that's something that can be really overwhelming for people. The next one, music. Sometimes, kind of weird, listening to music from different eras can really tell you where you lived during that time frame, or what was popular, or kind of like, usually music can really trigger us in a lot of different ways, and it can also trigger us with our past lives. So if you listen to something from the early 1800s, or a piece of music that was played like it was back then, it can trigger you to kind of remember things that are coming forward. And that's kind of like, wow. Abundance. I will tell you that usually learning abundance is something that a lot of people have to do more. It usually takes more than one lifetime to learn it. So that's kind of like an interesting part of it, is that you really have to learn that really, really well, and kind of like how to draw that into you, or how to talk to it, because sometimes people almost repel it like a magnet. They're like, yep, that's the way it goes. Playfulness. Playfulness comes in because that's child play, of just kind of like, what do I want to do this time? And play with the energy from your past life, but don't keep looking back. I tell people the fun part is, your windshield is this big, okay, and your rear view mirror is this big, because you need to look forward more times than you're looking behind you. Yes, you need to look back there from time to time, make sure no one's creeping up on you, but at the same time, it's kind of, what do you want to learn from it? What do you want to learn? And once you get that information, that makes it really powerful, because now you can kind of verify that information or look at it. So our next card is focus. I would say tell people to focus in on one past life at a time, because there are some past lives that there's no reason to go back to it. We didn't do anything, or we didn't really learn any big lessons or anything like that. But then there's others that really we need to go back several times to, which brings us to study. Once you kind of figure out where you were in a past life, do some studying up, looking at photographs or artwork or anything like that from that time frame. Even like I said, the music can also kind of trigger you in remembering that past life. It's right there. I will tell you, usually the information's right there. You are just not connecting with it, or you haven't been triggered in that area to go, wow, I'm not sure why this is happening, but I want to really understand it. So that's a great way to do it. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.